Alright, today I'm going to show how to replace the fan of the Zyxel 326. A fairly easy procedure. This model is actually a pretty nice NAS system. However, the back fan located here tends to get louder with time, or in general is not very silent, which is a complaint by many users, but there are easy ways to address this. First of all, of course, you have to power down the device, as you shouldn't move it too much with the running hard drives, and then the very first step after that would be to remove the hard drives, which is fairly easy. One and two. Alright, now the next step is the only one that's a little bit tricky, as for most of these models there are additional screws right above those for the fan, but this is not the case in the 326. Instead, here at the very back side of the casing are the screws that you have to loosen instead. So need a rather small normal cross screwdriver for this. Okay. So now comes the little bit more non-intuitive part. What we have to do now is push the casing backwards relative to the display part of the casing. And this requires quite some force, but that shouldn't bother you. I will show you later on why it actually does take that much force. So let's try it right now. I'm really pushing quite a lot of strength now. You probably heard the loud noise there as it moved apart. And now once you've moved it a little bit like this, you can just pull it off to the side. Okay, now you can actually see why sometimes it is quite hard to take apart. It's because of these lamella here, which can actually kind of stick in between those of the fan. So it takes some force, but you don't have to worry about that. Now there are actually two ways to take out the fan itself. One is just loosen the screws, bend this a little bit and take it out. But since there's very little space here, it might be hard to actually put in the new one, and also it's a little bit frickly to take out the wiring. So I'm just going to remove the whole back plate with the fan. Okay, these are two screws right on the side here, one here. Okay, so now with these two screws we can simply pull it backwards. So it looks like this. Alright, now we can first detach the wiring. There we go. And loosen the screws of the fan, for which I'm just going to use a little bit bigger screwdriver, as these are slightly different screws. And now actually this might go a little bit harder, at least for me, because actually these screws weren't fit perfectly into the fan, which just might be one of the reasons that these fans are a little bit louder than some people want if they keep these devices in their living rooms or offices, as compared to some cellar or storage area. So apparently not too much care was taken to reduce the noise a lot of these fans. So even the screwing isn't perfect quality there, in my opinion. So you can kind of judge that by the amount of effort it takes to get these not quite straight screws out of their holding. So now we've removed the original fan, and now actually you have to take care of what you want to do. So you can either try to repair your old one if it wasn't originally too loud by removing these stickers and then using oil to slick it up a little bit again, or you can just replace it, or you can, instead of your screws, use kind of rubber alternatives which kind of decouple the vibrations of the fan from the casing a little bit. Now I'm going to use a totally new fan which is more silent in addition with these screws, and their care has to be taken, because so if we take the casing back and we look at how much space we actually have for our fan, then we actually don't have a lot. And many low vibration, low noise fans, like these here for example, if you look at the back, they have about 25 millimeters of width, and this is already kind of too much. As you can see here, the board actually can be in contact with the fan if it is too big, and so I would not recommend any fan that's thicker than maybe 22 millimeters in width. And even a simple fan as this one, if you check out the width, will have about, I don't know if you can see it, but it's about 2.5 centimeters. Make sure you get a very thin fan here, and now we're just going to fix it here with these rubber screw alternatives. Can of course also use the original screws, since these fans don't really have to run that fast. A silent fan will actually usually suffice. Here again, don't be scared to use a little bit more force on these rubber screws. They sometimes take quite a lot of work. You can cut off these parts. Gee, I think I'm going to do that right now, so you don't accidentally get them into your drives. This. Right, and now basically you just have to do everything backwards that we did before. Now, a small word of advice, whenever changing the fan in such a way, after plugging it in, check if the fan is really running, because especially with simple procedures like these, often happens that a very simple step is being missed, like properly replugging the fan, or maybe having some part stick inside, like some part of the wiring in the fan. So one should always be certain that the fan is actually running smoothly after plugging it in again.